Imagine a world where the air you breathe could be a death sentence, where bustling cities fall silent overnight and half of everyone you know disappears. This isn't a horror movie. This was the reality of the 14th century. This is the story of the Black Death. Our story begins not in Europe, but deep within the arid plains of Central Asia. Here, a bacterium called Yersinia pestis lived quietly in fleas, which in turn lived on small rodents like marmots. For centuries, this was a closed system, a local problem. But the world was changing. The Mongol Empire, one of the largest in history, had connected east and west like never before. Vast trade routes, the famous Silk Road, became highways not just for silk and spices, but for something far more sinister. Around the 1330s, climate change and ecological shifts forced these infected rodents out of their natural habitats and into closer contact with human populations. The fleas, now carrying a deadly passenger, jumped to new hosts: black rats. These rats were the perfect travel companions for merchants and soldiers. They stowed away on caravans and ships, unknowingly carrying the seeds of a global catastrophe. The first major European outbreak is often traced to the Crimean port city of Kaffa in 1346. That city was under siege by the Mongol army. As the plague ravaged their own ranks, the Mongols reportedly used a terrifying new form of biological warfare. They catapulted the bodies of their plague victims over the city walls. The Genoese merchants inside, horrified, fled by sea, but it was too late. They didn't just carry cargo, they carried the plague. The symptoms were terrifying. First came fever, chills, and fatigue. But this was just one form of the plague. The bubonic plague, spread by flea bites, was deadly enough, killing about half of its victims. But if the infection spread to the lungs, it became pneumonic plague. This was even worse. It could be spread from person to person through coughing with a mortality rate near 100%. A third rarer form, septicemic plague, infected the bloodstream directly, killing its victims within hours, often before any symptoms could even develop. From Italy, the plague spread with terrifying speed. It moved north through France, Spain, and into England by 1348. It followed trade routes, rivers, and pilgrimage paths, reaching Germany, Scandinavia, and even remote Greenland by 1351. No one was safe. Entire villages were wiped out, their homes left empty, their fields untended. What was causing this great pestilence? Many believed it was a punishment from God for humanity's sins. This led to the rise of the flagellants, groups of penitents who would travel from town to town, whipping themselves publicly to atone for the world's wickedness. Tragically, many also sought scapegoats. Jewish communities across Europe were falsely accused of poisoning wells. The medical knowledge of the time was utterly helpless. Nothing worked. The sheer scale of death was overwhelming. In cities like Florence and Paris, so many people died each day that there was no one left to bury them. Mass graves were dug, bodies piled up in the streets. The social fabric of society completely unraveled. Parents abandoned their children, priests refused to give last rites, and law and order collapsed. By the time the first wave of the plague subsided around 1351, the world was a different place. The numbers are staggering and hard to comprehend. Europe lost somewhere between 30 to 60% of its entire population. But from the ashes of this catastrophe, a new world began to emerge. The massive loss of life had profound and unexpected consequences. With so few people left, the value of labor skyrocketed. For the first time, serfs and peasants had bargaining power. They could demand higher wages and better conditions. Many left the manors they had been tied to for generations, seeking new opportunities in the depleted towns and cities. This shift fundamentally weakened the old feudal system that had dominated Europe for centuries. The psychological impact was also immense. The omnipresence of death changed art, literature, and religion. The Black Death was not a one-time event. The plague returned in recurring waves for centuries, though none were as devastating as the initial outbreak. It wasn't until the 19th century, the discovery of Yersinia pestis, and the understanding that fleas on rats were the vector, that humanity finally began to get the upper hand on this ancient enemy. The story of the Black Death is a chilling reminder of our vulnerability to the microscopic world. It shows how interconnected our world is and how quickly a local outbreak can become a global crisis. It's a dark chapter in our history. But it's also a story of resilience, a story of how, in the face of unimaginable loss, humanity rebuilt, adapted, and was forever changed. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey into the past interesting, please hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let us know in the comments what historical event you'd like to see us cover next. See you in the next video.